Hey there, welcome to Making a Website That Sells. Today, I'm going to take you behind the scenes and show you exactly what I do to create a website that works, that lands clients, that brings in business, and that replaces a lot of your prospecting efforts. I'm going to show you some of the tools that I use, the tactics that I use. These are things that are either free or virtually free, the must-haves that you have. I'm going to show you some of the best decisions that I've ever made, things that have really worked, and at the same time, I'm going to show you some of the biggest mistakes that I've made as well. But to begin this off, we're going to start dissecting some websites. And I'm going to show you some of them that work. And at the same time, I'm going to show you some of them that do not work and just honestly don't help you at all. And it actually tarnishes your reputation. So before we get into the ones that do work, I'm going to show you some of the ones that actually will negatively impact you. So, all right, we're going to start with this one. I just randomly looked up some sites, so I don't know these people. So if you know these people, my apologies ahead of time, but we're adding some pure honesty to this. So if you know them, hey, give some feedback to them, but do not repeat the things that they do. So this is a website for a company called Delmar Insurance Group. And at first blush, you think, okay, well, this company has what they call a slider, meaning the pictures change. You can see the little squares on the top left. And, you'd think that would be great. But there's a problem here. Number one, these images move so quickly that even if you were to get on there, it's gone by the time you're there. And so you have to spend the time actually re-navigating through the website to get there. And while that's not super complicated, it is one more step that your potential clients would have to make. And you're starting off your relationship with them doing all the work, which realistically for the first step, maybe later on the line, it might be something you want to do, but for the beginning one, you don't really want to do that. But one of the things I want to really focus on as we go into the next pages is what we call the fold. And what I mean by this, and I'm just going to make that full screen just so it's a little easier. So is what we call the fold. And the fold is the very bottom part of the website. That's way down here on the bottom. And typically, most people, when they're looking at a website for the first time, it doesn't matter what kind of site it is. It could be eBay, Amazon, news site, what have you. They're typically not going to go below that fold. So you want to be able to just look really quickly within 1 or 2 seconds, maybe 3 seconds. We'll give them 3 seconds. And, kind of what's our initial impression? And we see a really nice sports car, a doctor reading a chart, business people. And there's stock images. But we see a lot of, on the bottom, it just says, welcome to DelmarInsuranceGroup.com. And then a lot of small type. I mean, it's something you look at, and I'm just thinking, this is just me. I'm not going to spend the time to go reading through paragraphs when that's the first impression to do that. And at the same time, looking at the headers up here, they pretty much, they cover everything: earthquakes, business, personal, and there's all these drop downs. And you have all of this in here and save up to, but at the same time, look at how small the type is on here. Save up to 41%, just really low. I mean, you wouldn't even see that if you were looking for it. If you were going to do something like this and just say, if you were going to package all of your policies, you could save up to, you want this number to be big, bold, and red as that car. You want it to be something that immediately, and you want the whole thing right here, save up to in red and bold. So the first thing you see when you come on here, the first thing your eyes are drawn to is what you want them to see first. That's really the key that we're looking at here. Nobody's going to care about the social media icons. I just noticed to contact us. So, I guess it's there. But if you can see that, I mean, not a lot of people are really looking at this. Now, if we were to go down, look at all this type on here. I mean, nobody's going to spend the time when they find your website, they don't know you, they have no investment in you, to look through all this type. This is like a book. And people are just going to leave your website. They're not going to spend the time looking at it. Just because you have it there doesn't mean they're going to read it. If you make it difficult and prolonged for them, they're going to leave your website quick. And when you get to the bottom, it's just the same thing. I mean, most of it's 12-point characters, maybe 11 points, probably 12-point. And it doesn't really help, right? I mean, even contact us, they have the address, they have a fax number, but they don't even have a phone number on here, which, I mean, not that you'd want it way down here anyway, because most people aren't even going to get to that point, but it just doesn't help. And then at the same time, the title here, you want to personalize this. When you're visiting somebody's website, you want to feel like it's a one-on-one conversation between you and them, and yet you're introducing it as .com, which really just impersonalizes the whole thing. So this is definitely an example of what you do not want to do. So let's go to the next one. This is Bridalwood Insurance Services. And again, we want to pay attention, first of all, to the fold, which is right down here. And, it's kind of good that they put San Diego's best. And if you guys aren't familiar with San Diego, every year there's a Union Tribune, that's what UT right here stands for, as a reader's poll. And basically it's, they put out a special issue or whatever, and people vote for the best one. So apparently they won the top one, it's great for them. But again, we see some big mistakes here. Number one, this header takes up so much space. And all these things right here, look how small the text is. It's not going to help you. You don't even notice it. I mean, I didn't notice it until I came up here. So if you're going to spend all this space and you're going to have it on something that nobody notices, it doesn't really help. And then when we go down here, again, we have this 12-point type, which is generally a never, ever, ever do it. That's kind of a good rule. If your website editor defaults your text type to anything, don't use it, especially if it's 12-point type, because it definitely isn't going to help. And at the same time, they have a picture here, but for whatever unknown reason, the find the agent little pop-up covers the picture, which I just don't even get. I mean, it looks really, really bad. And again, it actually gives the phone number, which is better than the last one, but it doesn't really tell you. I mean, what do these people do? What's their specialty? What makes them great? Why? And really the big question is, why should I stay on the website? And that's going to be a question that we're going to be asking on every single page we're on. And we're going to go to my website as well, and we're going to ask that exact same thing. So as we go past the fold, probably the nicest picture they have on here is actually below the fold, right? You don't even see it. I mean, if they really want to focus on Medicare, this should be up here. It should be way up here. And again, you can tell this is a boilerplate template, because look at all this empty space over here. I mean, they could be using this for something, this whole thing, something better to draw it in. But this is a boilerplate website. They basically spent 5 minutes on it, and they're not really investing in bringing customers in here. And again, we have maybe a 13 or 14 point font, but probably 12 on here. They try to make it look good that it's a BBB accredited business, but again, it doesn't really tell you anything. One of the other things you see on here is that their colors are off. So, you look at their header, and it seems like their branding would be sky blue, navy blue. And yet we see purple right here, right there. And yet we see green type right here, which green type generally doesn't work really well. There are some instances where it works really well, but it doesn't. And why they would even have a next page on here, again, I'm not going to go to that next page, and most likely no, somebody else isn't. But let's go to their next page and see what's on there. So you go to the next page, and it's just more type. And just a really weird infographic they have here, which, might be fine. But again, we look at this in previous page, next page, and it's basically the same thing. So you're getting trained to see the same thing. And, looking up here where it says Medicare Made Easy, okay, that's what they're going to focus on, Medicare Made Easy. But there's no mention of Medicare on this entire page on the top of it. Maybe you could justify that maybe down here, Medicare.gov, but that's to call somebody else. That's another website. And if you click on there, it actually takes you off of their website. So really, if you're going to be focusing on that, this should be up higher, and there should be more things that really differentiate them, as opposed to just trying to find an agent, which is actually mentioned twice here, which I don't really understand. If this is here, if you have all this here, and you can actually search by language, gender, radius, and some other things here. Why is this even here? I just don't even understand it. So this is definitely not a good thing. You might as well just take the website down, in my opinion. And that's a tough critique, but again, these are things that your prospects are going to be thinking at the same time. So, we want people to really love your website, and more than anything, help it drive in clients. All right, so this is one called Milber Insurance. So they do things a little better here, but again, I'm going to have a number of problems with this. Number one, they talk about here providing personalized service for insurance shoppers, and it's like 12-point font. This is their headline. Like, it should be bigger. If you're going to do that, this should stand out. All these here are generally very small, and unless you make it a point to read them, it's not going to be there. They did put their number there in bright red, which is good. This is pretty common. You'd say, okay, well, putting the quote on the website would be really great, but everybody does that in that way. And it only gives you 6 different options. And remember that for when we talk about later. And they have a bunch of logos here, but again, their font, I think this is a 10-point font. So I can tell you this, nobody's going to read it. I'm not reading it. I didn't read it, and I'm not going to read it. Testimonials, you'd think, okay, well, this is going to be great. This is a long testimonial. This might be an 8-point font. Again, nobody's going to say, if you want somebody to read the testimonial, you better make it bigger than fine print, because nobody is going to read it. And again, you could tell here that it was just basic. All they did was add a hyperlink to here. This is the logo that they pulled off of Google Images, I'm sure. And again, we get down to fonts. Geez, 6-point font. I mean, if you're talking about somebody that is older and has trouble reading, how are they going to possibly read this? I mean, if you're going to put it on there, it just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't tell me anything. The only thing it tells me is they do health insurance. But it doesn't tell me, what their specialty is or anything about them that, any boilerplate website would, you'd put out there. So not good. All right. So Daniel's Insurance Agency. And we are going through the bad ones first. We're going to get to the good ones, but I really want to show you exactly the mistakes that these people are making so that when you see the good ones, you can really, really see the difference. So Daniel's Insurance Agency. Okay, these people do health, life, dental, and group insurance. So they basically do everything, which is fine. You have the call out up here, which is great. So my initial thought is these people have a Christmas-ish color scheme, red and green. But we'll see as things go down here. They have a menu that is very boring and bland. If they don't know you, they're not going to care about forms and applications. But we do hear one of the things they do well, and right in the beginning, is free quotes in 3 easy steps. And again, you want to make things a little easy. You want to make things very easy for them to take the next step in the process. And so at this point, you can click on the radio buttons, individual, short-term, small group, enter the zip, and it'll show the plans, which is great. And we're not going there, but that's at least a step in the right direction. But then we go in here, why choose them? And again, this is a 14-point font. So with a call to action that's still 14-point font. So most people are probably not going to do this if it's in an area this small. And when you're basically keeping this sidebar on either side this wide, you're restricting, what you can do. It's not saying you shouldn't do that, because you could, and it's mobile friendly and everything, but you really don't want it to be something that is, it doesn't really stand out. And again, their color was red, green, and now we're starting to see like a mustard yellow, which I don't fully understand. And that's above the fold. Now, one of the things they did do a little good here, and I'm sure it's totally accident, but it actually kind of works in here a little bit, is this is what we call the fold tease, meaning that it's just above the fold, so something's on there, but you don't know what. So, and it usually helps to bring people down here. And again, we have the red and green, quick contact, which is great. I'm not sure, they can put the fax number on here. But again, it's not really telling you a whole lot. Why should I spend the time to do this? The number one thing that I would say this website does better, that gives me a question of why I should stay on the page, is the very top area. I can at least go to the next page. That's my next step of action. But again, you know that if you go through all these sites, there's going to be, you're probably going to be able to see something like this on, every third or fourth or fifth or whatever site. So you can do that. But why do they stand out? What is going to keep a person on this site and not go navigating away and surfing the web for other sites? Because that is really what you want your website to do. You want them to keep them off of your competition sites. You want to keep them up there, as long as possible, and to keep them engaged. So this one does a very good first, and I shouldn't say very good, but a good first start. But there's a lot of things on here that are just all over the place. All right, so let's go to the next one. This one is terrible. I shouldn't say that, but I mean, you can tell this guy doesn't even have a website. It was basically provided by his captive company. And so what happens is none of this is his choice. All of this on here, legalese and everything, is his choice. The call to action is actually below the fold, so you don't even get to see that. And basically, you just know when I first saw this, the first thing that I said was, okay, this guy, every single person in his State Farm agency has this exact same site. So there's nothing on here. And, you can call him if you want, and some people might, but it's not really doing much to differentiate you from everybody else. All right, so we have an agency called Alcott Insurance Agency, and this type here is so small. I mean, if you want to do Alcott, that's fine, but they probably need to get take your mind off the fact that you have like basically a virtual 4-point font there. And again, it looks like the website colors are blue and like a mustard yellow. Call us today. I mean, you could do it in that color, but this color doesn't really drive people up. It doesn't drive them to call. And if you look at this from where we have here, if you said, what's the number one thing that you see on the website? It's the skyline of San Diego. Okay. And that's great. It tells the person that they're local, but beyond that, it doesn't really tell you much about that. So it looks like, they focus on food service, woodworking, self-storage, and renewable energy risks and business, which are 5 completely different things. So these people, again, if you're going to be focusing on those industries, you want to talk about why you're the expert in that industry and not just being all over the place. Welcome to our website. Again, that's just bland. You want to get their attention. You want to get something that really stands out. And welcome to our website. I think we already know that we're on your website. But again, we have a 14-point font. We have a picture of them, which is fine. But it just seems like we're just throwing as much as we can on here and not really worrying about what the greater picture is, right? And so on here, if you said, what's the biggest thing we see here? I wouldn't even say it's the quote form because we see that so often that it kind of gets taught in the background. I think the picture is there, but there's nothing that really we can focus on. Again, these people, they're trying their best, but there's some simple mistakes that could be easily corrected to get into their business. So if anything, I would probably change this to, why should you stay on our website realistically? And then they could put on here, it just says, we work with everybody. We're from San Diego. This is what we're specialty on, blah, blah, blah. But if you ask a question that's actually a negative question or an inverse question, why should you stay on our website? That's going to get people's attention, and you're going to get people to read this. But when you see welcome to our website, it just, people aren't going to see that, and they're going to move on, which is what we're going to do. So these people actually have potential, but there's some things that they're not familiar with, and it's actually costing them clients. All right, so we have a guy from Farmers, Pat Moore. And again, this looks like kind of the boilerplate website. And again, the fold is just the social media stuff. It's probably, given to him by his company. And again, this is more like kind of an HR intranet thing that you can learn about him. But again, if you ask yourself, why should I stay on the website? I don't know. It's a good question. I don't know where this Farmers building is. I have no clue where it's at. But I can tell you this, being here in San Diego, it's not on Kearney Villa Road, because that's not what it looks like. But again, all we see here is 12 to 14 point font. And, I guarantee you he doesn't have any control over the content on this. So, and there's some stuff down here, but nobody's going to get to a point where they're on there. And actually, now that I'm looking at it right here, it says my hardworking team. That's great. And this is very at the bottom. You have a skewed picture right here, but you really want to talk about it. If I'm seeing this here, I just see somebody that's a cog in the machine. Whereas if you see if you see this down here, it makes you think, okay, this is a small agency. If I call them up, I'm probably going to get a hold of Yenny on the phone, which is great. And that's what you want to have, but it's buried at the very bottom. And I think if you were to move that up to right here, about me, and I don't like the about me part, but if you were to put here, more importantly, here's my team, and then you get to see them right off the bat, it would be a tease on the fold right here. It would make them roll down. You'd see a name to a face, and you'd say, oh, okay, I can call her, I email her, and you feel like you have been introduced in a sense. So there's some things that you can do on here that would be much, much different. Again, I would, number one, I would probably put a picture of something of him and his family here just to personalize it out. But again, the big question is, why should I stay on the website? And there's not a lot here to really answer that. I mean, you could get a quote on here for all these things, but this guy looks like he's a jack of all trades, but a master of none. And most likely people are going to leave that website. So, but there are some things that he's doing here really well. But I would definitely, the first one I would do is move these up here. And at the same time, if she's the partner in the agency, I would probably want to have a bio of him over here and a bio of her over here, and not just talk about what they offer, but what makes them different. And we're going to see a website where somebody actually does that in a little bit. And that would at least get you to feel that you have a lot in common with him. So maybe he's a sailing enthusiast, or he's a golfer, or he loves hiking, or what have you. But when you can get some of those psychographic things in there, meaning things that kind of tie people in, they're philanthropists, they love surfing or what have you, then it feels like you have something in common with them. It's going to do that. And right in this description as here, it doesn't really talk about that. But there's a lot of potential with this guy, but he's just not taking advantage of any of it. It just seems like he's writing in this page. So, and again, I am being a little harsh on it, but at the same time, these are the things that your prospective clients are thinking in their head. So we want to expose those out. And we will get to the good stuff. I'm going to show you some people that are actually doing really, really well with this. But you want to see, kind of the mistakes that people are making, but then some of the potential that they have there as well. Now, this last one is the last one where we're going to kind of be tanking on them a little bit, and we're going to get to some really good ones going forward. As you can see on the top, there's quite a number of them. So, again, this, you can tell right off the bat, is a boilerplate template. He didn't design this. It was just given, and he just filled in text, basically. Now, again, we look at the fold and ask ourselves basically what's on here. Why should I stay on the website? Well, I don't know. It's a good question. I mean, I think if I'm looking at this and saying what's the biggest thing that I see on here, there's not much, but the only thing that really jumps out is insurance I can trust. But one thing you have to realize is people are oppositional by nature. So if you're going to tell them, hey, you can trust me, they're going to say, no, I don't think I can, or they're going to be very, very skeptical and looking for a reason not to. So we're trying to look at, kind of how he's branding. He doesn't have a brand. He doesn't have a logo. He doesn't have really anything. And then, his, description, his tagline is insurance for the great state of California. Well, California has 36 million people in it, and they are about as different as any place else. The people in San Diego are way different from Northern California. The people in the desert are different from the mountains. So, I mean, I guess he put that because he was trying to think it sounded great because he had a California insurance license, but it doesn't tell us anything about him. Again, this is a boilerplate thing. This search he didn't do himself. There was a little header, and he basically put two things up here. He has the address and some basic menu things he can do. But nothing much there. So I'm thinking since he has a car here, his main thing is auto insurance, but I don't know. And then he makes the mistake of the 10 to 12 point font that you see at the bottom, which most people are just going to ignore. Most people will not go past the fold on this because this is just a standard web page. It's a template, right? But when we go down here, he basically does everything: life, business, condo, home, umbrella, health, landlord. So, if you're a landlord, I want to work with somebody who just does that. That's like their specialty because they're going to know all the nuances. But if this guy's doing renter's insurance and umbrella and health and business and condo and life, this is just something he does, but I don't necessarily know that he's really the guy that I want to talk to. Now, let's talk about some things that he's actually doing well here. Okay, number one, insurance tips. I kind of like this, but I would put this up top. I mean, I honestly would probably move this slider down if you can. And if you cannot, I would get rid of the template because it's not working. But these insurance tips, again, is it time to do this? If it's time to winterize your RV, well, I would say if you're in San Diego, and this guy's in San Diego, you don't need to winterize anything because it's never winter here. So I would probably get rid of that question entirely. Connected home, that's kind of cool. But I would probably, put some drama into this, connected home, the 3 biggest mistakes you can make, and then get people interested in that. Device insurance, I might put something like, did your phone fall in the toilet? I'll show you the first thing you need to do. But put these, I would change these up to make them a lot more interesting. But I would put those at the very, very top, right? I would put those right here, and I wouldn't put them in the very small print. I would put them in much bigger text, probably 24 to 32 point font up here to get people's attention, because that's really what you want to do. When they get to this, you want to say, okay, what's the next step I should take on this website? Yeah, you can call, that's fine. But if I'm calling, there's no reason to even go down here. But if I can get these insurance tips on here, get people engaged, it's going to get them involved in the website, and they're going to stay on the website. They're going to, avoid everybody else. And again, if this guy's from San Diego, I'm not really sure why he says insurance for the great state of California. The nickname for San Diego is America's finest city. I would just put, even if you're just going to change that, you could just put insuring America's finest city, or what have you, or a particular neighborhood in San Diego. And this neighborhood's in a neighborhood called Kearny Mesa. So you could put insuring Kearny Mesa for X amount of years. But again, we see, some very bland things. He didn't really, do much. You can tell by the copyright, at least he did it this year. But there's not really much on here. He just filled in some blanks and threw it up there. And, it's kind of throwing up spaghetti and seeing if it sticks. But there's no strategy to it. So I guess the one thing on here that I see would be insurance tips on here. You want to get people engaged in the website. And then once they're engaged and then you got them curious, then you can drop this in here. Blah, blah, blah. This is, connect directly to us at this number. And I would put this in red or something that really, really stands out. But white all the way across isn't going to help. And then these 10-point font isn't going to help. And the 10-point font here isn't going to help. So this guy has some potential on here, which is great. This is probably a place here in San Diego, which is great. But even if you're going to use a slider, it looks like the pictures on here change, but this doesn't. Again, I would probably just say this is, you run a business, I am an expert when it comes to insuring small businesses. Boom. Call me to protect, get a quote, call me to protect your business. And then when it goes to the house or to his family or whatever, you can kind of do the same thing. So there's definitely some potential here, but this guy really didn't invest much. It's not even about investing money, but he didn't really invest any time at all, and there's no strategy behind it. So I don't really know that this website is really going to do a whole lot for him, unless they're looking for him on here, in which case they probably already know his number. All right, so let's switch things up a little bit. And we're going to go to some good websites, some things that I like. Again, no website is perfect, but we're going to show you some really cool things that people are doing. All right, this is the Murray Group. And so one of the things that you have here is, at the very top, they have art partners or family, and they change on here. But this I really like. Why the Murray Group? Again, you're asking this inverse question. Why should you do this? And again, the type's bigger. You can see here, I think it's probably an 18-point type on here. But I don't necessarily like what they wrote here because it seems kind of bland. But they have a video here. Now, one of the things you'll see here as we play the video, and I have it on mute, and they do a really good job on this. There's a way, and I can show you how to do this actually. There's a package that we have that we offer through the Negotiators Playbook that shows you how to actually get rid of this YouTube logo on the right. I mean, it's not the biggest thing in the world, but you could actually get rid of that. But they put a website on there or a video on there, so you can actually get to know the person. You can see their mannerisms, how they talk, and you really get to share exactly what they're about. And everybody loves video, especially if it's mobile. I would put this up at the top. I would make this a lot bigger. might shorten this up a little bit, but make it maybe one or two sizes bigger as far as the type. You can move this, actually get these two to switch. Get that one down here and this one up here. And again, they have this fold tease down here. So you don't necessarily the answer, but you see the question. What affects my auto insurance premium? Again, people love questions. So they say life insurance is a must. You might even put on here, it's like, do I really need life insurance, ? And you can kind of answer the must as you get down here. What should I do if I have an insurance claim? Again, they have their little contact thing here, which is great, but it kind of blocks this out a little bit. But either way, that's a small thing. What should I do if I have an insurance claim? And that's it. There isn't much on here. But one of the things that I would look at is, number one, I would move this one up here, and then I would put something that engages them on here. So, it's nice to ask a question here, but again, what you see here in this slider here is a little bit, kind of boilerplate in a sense. So if you're going to say, let's go back to this one, our partners or family, you could put on here, it's just like, if you're going to say our partners or family, I would probably see, one, you're going to move this up here, move this down here, and get some videos of, it's kind of people saying, why they're not just a regular agent, how their family, etc. Because if you say your partners or family, they're going to be really skeptical. But if you have other people saying it, it's going to be a lot more believable. Now, it looks like their color scheme on here is kind of a dark red, which is good. But I would probably even just make this bright red, and do something like that. But overall, this is a lot better, definitely a lot better. And the fact that they have a contact this thing here is kind of cool. This definitely should be better. But again, two of these things here are questions. I would make sure this is a question. But do you really need to get life insurance? Or you might even just say something like the 5 biggest mistakes that you can make when you buy life insurance. Which I'm sure if they're buying it, they're super concerned about making a mistake. So again, this up here, I might even put one of these 5 biggest mistakes you can make by life insurance. Don't ever make those mistakes. And then have a little link here that says click here to find those 5 things. And again, it takes you to another page on the website, but it definitely gets you engaged. But you want this video up top, because even if they click on that, you don't want them skipping the video. So much better for the Murray Group. All right, so let's move on. We have Paradiso Insurance. These people are great. I think that it's much better. Again, you have this slider that takes up the whole page, and it's I think the pictures are great. There's a very specific on here. Promises will be made and honored. It's a lot about family. You see the 2 people on here. We're partners with our clients. I would probably slow down this slider a little bit, because it doesn't need to move so fast. You're not going to have a chance to even read this by the time the slider goes away. Why choose Paradiso? I would maybe move this up a little bit, make it in bigger text, get a little bit of a tease down here. But we're going to roll down. Let's assume people have done that. Again, it looks like we have some testimonials here, which is great, right? But I would probably put a thing, why should you choose Paradiso? Well, don't listen to us. Listen to these people. And then, it's great they have testimonials, but these are really long. I would make these bolder. I did that with my hand. You can't see it, but I would make these bolder, bigger text. This is a 12 to 14 point font. I think it's a 12 point font. And I would make it probably a 16 to 18 point font. I would bold something on here. I came back when my motorcycle, blah, blah, blah. Whatever it is, they saved me $950 a year. I would bold that out. I like the stars they have on here. But they could dress this up a little bit on here on how they do that. So I like the fact that their header here is static, meaning that it doesn't move when the page moves. So they're doing a really good job with that. Again, a lot of space here. They don't really need this. This space is kind of a waste. So I would definitely move that space up. And you can tell they designed this page custom, so they can definitely do that. So as we go down here, the Paradiso team, this I would bold them, make this a little bit, not bold, but I would make this a little bit bigger. And, they have the 3 pictures. I love the personalization. Email her. You can connect to her Facebook or LinkedIn, but I love the fact that they do that. And then you see how we talked about, like, you want to make this bigger font. Well, they did it down here, which is great. So it's a little long, but it's definitely bigger. So I would make this even bigger, and then this bigger. This would probably be the same size as this, and this should be bigger. The Paradiso Promise, this should be in bold. In fact, this might be in a whole separate area, but it needs to be something that really, really stands out, this whole promise here. But this is honestly pretty good. I'd make it bigger and more prominent. And then obviously this box bigger and more prominent with a bigger type. But overall, pretty good. They have an app, which is awesome. So I don't necessarily think it needs to be as hot. I think being down low where it's at was fine. Get rid of some of this space, but the fact they have an app is really cool. This is awesome. So it makes it just a lot easier to work with them. And, you have a map on here, which is great. And they probably know where that's at. If it's in Stafford Springs, Connecticut. I mean, I can't imagine with a 8 East Main Street, it's probably a pretty small town. They know exactly where the post office is. So overall, I think these people did really, really well. Again, it's very text heavy. I'd probably get rid of some of the text. Nobody's going to read the whole page. So pick the spots that you really want to go after it. And again, you don't have to send the whole thing on here. But you can just put, they saved me $950 a year. I came back when my motorcycle was due, got a good rate then too. Boom. Or I've since recommended 2 family members who also save money on their insurance needs. That's great. But I would shorten it up a little bit. And then one of the things they could do that's even better, and we saw that with, the Murray Group putting a video on there, is make these videos. Ask Anthony Guardiani to put a video up on there. I mean, if he's going to do this, send me a video. Shoot a video on your iPhone and send it to me. And I'm going to put a video here, and a video here, and a video here, and a video here. It's going to be way more engaging. And the other thing about testimonials is, as the Paradiso Group here, they have editorial control over what's put on here. So if you put a video on, that's in their words, it's in their, their manner of speaking, and it's 100% way more believable. And not to say you don't believe these people, but when on a video, it's a lot more credible. So overall, these people did a pretty good job. So nice job, Paradiso. All right. So the Thompson Group, again, these people, very different. They branded it purple and black. And if you look at the fold again, why should we stay on here? You can see there's a video there. Hello, Colorado. It's kind of light. I'd probably strengthen that up a little bit. But overall, you kind of get a good idea of what they're about. They're in Indiana. They just moved to Colorado. And we go to the video, and I was watching this video a little earlier, as you can tell. And it's nice you can get an idea of what each of those are like. These guys, trust me, are very, very different from each other. I'm not really sure why the choice of black and white was made when they're doing such a good job as such a color that breaks out, that you're going to use black and white. I mean, look at the color difference when you have this and a color, even though they have a naked couple, it's kind of crazy. But you have the color there, and yet they go down to black and white, which I kind of don't understand. But overall, the video helps keep you engaged. And, latest news, I don't really see a reason to do that, because you can do that on an email list and keep them appraised. But if somebody's brand new, I don't really know that anybody's going to be caring too much about those. And they have on here, they have a whole bunch of, companies that they work with, which is fine. But I don't really know that you're going to care if they work for, Westfield Insurance or Travelers or Eastern or Sakura or Accident Fund. I think the best thing that they did on here, number one, is the color really stands out. They did a great job on that. and the video. But I would get that video off black and white and, really decide from the priorities. The top priorities, they're going to help engage your customers, are going to be on the top, and then down, and then down, and then down. So, but there's not a whole lot on here. So even the Facebook ones are black and white here. So I didn't even notice those till right now. So again, you really want to focus what you have on here. So overall, pretty good. I just need, I think they're really on the right track. They're doing things that most people aren't doing, but they need some direction and some strategy exactly on how to fully keep it on here. And then just this article here, I don't even know how to go back. I think that's another thing. I would probably have some type of button where you could go back because I would want to find out why, what was going on. But anyway, overall, pretty decent, great potential, but they definitely could use some help. So, all right, R&R Insurance. So this one is great because it has 2/3 of the page is basically a video, or not a video, but basically a wide screen graphic, and you have what's called knockout text, meaning it's just white behind it. And, it's great. It really brings forward. It's very minimalistic, and it really gets you a sense on what they're about. So coverage from all your insurance needs. Again, we have the dreaded 12-point font right here, which I would completely get rid of. We have a lot of space here. So how can we help you? Again, it's so many just different things here, right? Client portal, careers, employee benefits, all these things. There's not really a strategy on there. Recent news, they can do that. Even as a break, it's okay. That's fine. But you can see in here how it's much different than just text, right? So business insurance, benefits, this looks a lot cleaner than what they have here. So, you really get a sense on where they're at. It's definitely really good. This is probably very mobile friendly, but it allows you to pick it up right from there. Now, one of the things we talked about on the other one, where was this? How they had the testimonials and text. These people actually do it. This is great. So they actually do the same thing. So they do what I was suggesting is they have, kind of a bio of Derek, but they have a video of him explaining exactly why it's there. And again, I would put these are way below the fold. If you say more than a policy, it's a promise. And then you have here, get more than a policy, get a promise. I would take this right here, these two videos, and put them right here. And again, you see that right off the bat. You get this thing, more than a policy, it's a promise. You get a guy who's really hardworking, and you get two people just like him who are saying exactly where it's at. And I would, at that point, pretty much everybody's going to scroll down. I would probably put this one next, above that, and then, probably a how can we help you, but again, not with this 12-point font that you have right here. And that's pretty much it. So overall, I think these people are doing great. I would say they just need to reorder some of these things, and it's a really good start. I would probably make sure that this is larger and in red, wherever you want them to do. If you want them to call you, then this orange or red or whatever color you want to be, that's the one that should be colored. If you want them to request a quote first, great. If you want them to get you on the phone first, then that needs to be highlighted there. So overall, these people are doing a really good job. Just really need to order it. And again, it's 95% better than everybody else that's out there for sure. All right, so we have the Levitt Group. This one, again, kind of same thing. This is the skyline of San Diego for those that don't know it. Kind of a nice color scheme on here, purple, blue, etc. Very concise and to the point, insurance, risk management, and employee benefits. So you can tell they're not the car insurance people, right, for the most part. That's who they're focusing on. So protect your business from cyber risk, get the case study. I love this. I don't know why it's so small. I mean, they should definitely make it bigger. This should go down farther, big type, big red button probably underneath here, and get this picture up bigger because that is incredible. That tells you they're an author, and that completely will build credibility. Insurance you can trust. Again, Ed Noakes president. I don't know which one is Ed. I'm guessing that one of the darker suits here, but I'm not really sure. But again, it's nice to have a picture with the people that are there. Why clients choose us. I would move this up to here, right? Why clients choose us before you tell them you can trust them. And then again, instead of just a written testimonial, again, I would want a video testimonial. And immediately I would put that right at the top. So you have exactly, it tells you what their specialty is. You have the fact that they're an author, which is great. And then why you should trust us right there. And then, insurance you can trust. And then local agencies, blah, blah, blah. This is great. A lot of wasted space here. I would cut that down. Learn about our agency. Again, this button right here, I would put right here. Again, I don't know that you necessarily need a quote from him if I don't even know which one of these guys is here, but which one of those is Ed Noakes. But if it's learn about our agency, you could put the same thing: experience, relationship, service team, cost control, learn about our agency. And I would put that right here, because that's really what you want to focus on. You don't want to have a quote be of greater prominence than the call to action down here. So, and then the results for our clients. I love this, the results for our clients, but these are kind of weak, to be honest. I would say results for our clients, and then get some client testimonials on here. And again, that's probably what you would title it right here. So just to really get right to the point. The call to action, let's talk. Again, I would take the same thing, take this copy, contact us, request a quote, view locations. I would probably just say, let's talk, boom. And let's move this, get rid of the phone number here, and put it somewhere in here, either down here or up here, what have you. But you really want to get that call to action right off the bat, right in front. And you can double it here. There's nothing to say that you can't put it down here, but I really like the way it's put here, and it could really be used to personalize it up here. Let's see, latest news, insights, and more. Just subscribe to our newsletter. Again, this one is way down here. I would, again, put that, contact us, request a quote, subscribe to our newsletter up top here. Again, the call to either, it needs to be, anytime there's a call to action down here, it needs to be up top as well. I love the fact that there's news here. This is great, especially if it's a business client. You're going to want to have stuff on here. So love what they're doing here. Love that there's videos or a graphic attached to it, because it's going to have something pretty interesting on here. But overall, yeah, these people did a great job. I just think it needs to be structured a little bit better, but this is incredible, and it's an absolute awesome web page. It definitely helps bring clients to do what you want to do, whether it's a call or request a quote or what have you. And you want to be very clear. If you want them to call you, then have a button that says call us, right? Call us and talk to one of our the people in this picture. Call us and have a picture of this girl or this girl or this girl, whoever it is, or this guy. But whoever it is, that you're going to call. Contact us and speak to one of our awesome customer service teams, and get to know us. If you want them to request a quote, that's fine, but you need to kind of pick one of those that you want them to do. And considering they gave a phone number right here, I would think that you probably want to put maybe request a quote up top, but keep the what you're trying to communicate to them very, very clear. But again, great job, Levitt Group. All right, Abrams Insurance Solutions. Again, these people did a great job. I mean, the whole picture covers the whole thing. They have knockout text over here in the right, which is great. Get a quote now. Again, that's what they're trying to say. Look, what we want you to do, the first thing when you hit this website, is to get a quote. You have the contact number in red up top, which is great. And as we page down, because that'll be interesting enough, even though you don't have a tease on the bottom, there's going to be something more. So the people are going to scroll down. So you scroll down. You have some social symbols here, which are really great. Great start. Instant insurance quotes. You can get a quote now. You have the fact that this guy's an author. Get my book now. Tax-free income. And you can apply now. So it's awesome. You have something that's low maintenance, a little higher maintenance, and that's awesome. Now, again, you have the mission as you go down here, which is great. This definitely should be down here a little bit further. You notice that I think it's a 16-point type here, and this is great. The following are some answers to common questions, and I would probably even just get rid of this because it's just an intro. Common questions when shopping for insurance. I'd put that maybe in red or bigger or something, but you should have a de-escalating font size from this to this to this. So why use an independent life insurance agent? Again, great question. I would probably make these a little bit bigger. You don't necessarily have to make them as long. So you could say a captive insurance agent only represents one company. They're usually more expensive. Okay, and this guy obviously is not captive. You could just put that. They only recognize one company. And their products, and they're usually more expensive. The independent insurance agency, just get it right to the point. And then maybe at the very bottom, we are independent insurance. That's what we are, and put that in bold or red or what have you. So how do I, again, you have kind of a Q&A down here. How do I comparison shop insurance rates? I love the fact that they're highlighting this. You just don't see this a lot of places. This is great. It cuts, even though they have a paragraph here, you have the one thing on here. The insurance quotes on the website will be the absolute lowest price you can find anywhere for the same policy. And you get people to really focus on the one thing that you want to show them. And if they want to read the rest, they can read the rest. But these are definitely a really good thing. It helps draw those in here. So, and all these things are just, you can put them in here or not, but I think overall these people did a great job. The button maybe should be red or not just the background color. But overall, I think, this one is an absolutely excellent example of a website that draws people in. It's a very structured thing. Compare life insurance, it's in 30 seconds. This isn't going to take very long. And it's great. There's your call to action. There's no question what he wants you to do first. If you decide to scroll down, you can either get a quote, leave the website, or scroll down. Most people are going to do one or two of those three. You have something showing some authority here, there's an author, and then you get down here. Again, testimonials, it's good they have one on here. Video testimonials, especially on a site as well done as this one, I would say, definitely put those things on here. But overall, this guy did a great job, and he definitely put a lot of thought into this. So, all right, good job. All right. This one, actually, it sounds like it's made up, but it's Sample Insurance Agency. That's really the name of it. The fact there's a slider doing the whole thing, auto, home, life, business, etc., which is really great. I'm not really sure why there's a video on here. I think you need to go kind of look at that a little bit. But overall, I think he does a really good job with the very top of it. So let's page down. Discover a variety of affordable insurance plans. Again, he puts it in big type, a little smaller, so great job. Put it in red here to really draw on what he wants to make you see. Why choose an insurance agent, an independent insurance agent? Again, it's the question. It's kind of the skeptical question. Watch the video, which is great. That's even better. This thing, again, needs to get going because it's a little annoying. All right. Yeah, I think right here he's just trying to be cute, and it's kind of nice that he can do that, but there should be something on here to help get rid of him, and I'm not even sure what these buttons do. So, all right, read our blog, which is great. I would even just say subscribe to our blog, because then it's obvious there's a blog here. So how to make your blog work for you, which is great. You could put why every insurance agent needs a blog, whatever you really want to do. But again, his blog is 2015. So if he's going to put this on his website, this is a year and a half old as of the recording of this video. So, if you're going to make your blog work for you, then, it should be more recent than a year and a half ago. So anyway, overall does really good. Has a little layer on here. Get started now. This guy does definitely, is investing a lot in here. He has some nice graphics, a nice overlay on here. I'm actually curious how he did that. But overall, really well. I would say that there's some small things that I would update. But again, in the very beginning, I guess with this, I would say you want to be really clear on what you want them to do, what your focus is. If it's, are you a specialty in auto, home, like parents, business owners, kind of where is your focus, and get that done. I would have this on an autoplay, but give somebody the opportunity to close it out, because I, again, don't really know how to close it out. But overall, it's great. I think he did a really good job. And again, better than 95% of the people out there. All right, we're going to get some of my favorite ones. So this one is called Insurify. So basically, the cool thing about this is this one automatically figured out my zip code, which is really great. It's one less thing that people have to do. So really, you don't have to type in anything. You just have to click on the button, and they already know who you are. So it kind of indicates some great things. It's a very different cartoony layer. Takes the whole page. So again, people are going to know there's something down there. On this, I would actually make this red. Take a picture of your license plate and get car insurance quotes fast. That's pretty awesome, especially if it's mobile friendly. But to get people to see this, make this bigger text, put it in red, something just to get people to do that. Has some social signals as seen in, all these different things. And then this one's really great. Start with our quick price coverage calculator. Again, I would probably even put this up here, or I would eliminate some of this space. Smarter, easier car insurance, because this is a whole lot of empty space right here. Move this up, shorten it up, and then right above, I would switch these two. Start with quick price calculator, and then put the as seen as on the bottom, because when you do that, it immediately will tell you exactly what it's at. So let's say I just do all these. It'll give you an idea of where things are at, has a price thing in here, and it enables you, how it automatically has these put in here, and you can do start my quote. So again, what you can see in here is this guy pre-populates the zip code, pre-populates a whole bunch of other things on here, and it cuts right to the chase. And so that you just know is faster than all the other ones that we've seen before. And again, he gives this little disclaimer here, which is fine. And he has some additional layers here. Again, I get rid of some of this space here because he doesn't really need it. Again, great graphics. Let's get going. It's very personal, right? Recommendations tailored to you. Let's get going. Choose your asset protection, your personal insurance agent. Again, this is what was on the top originally. How much will you save? Find out now. Awards we've won. Again, this is great. One of the things that this page does better than any other ones I've seen was it pre-populates everything. You just have to click a couple buttons and you get an idea of exactly what you are looking for. So excellent, excellent, excellent job, Insurify. And this actually won an award for the best insurance website last year. So you can see why. All right, so TIAA, again, this one, it does really well. A page-wide picture. Life Wizard in a few minutes. Do I need life insurance? How much do I need? Quote apply now. And again, these are all questions. Do I need it? How much do I need? How much will it cost me? Those are the three questions he probably gets more than anything else. And it basically goes into it deeper. But you see right here, it's big and then smaller, right? Do I need life insurance? And then we're looking at probably an 18 to 20 point font, double space. Think about the people in your life. If anyone you love would suffer financially when you pass, life insurance could help them. Very simple answer, right to the point, very short. And then this is great. So this one is the same idea. Do you have a new child, single parent? We'll just click some of these. Change in marital status. So maybe the guy got divorced, right? So we'll go to the next one, finances. I'll just do this one. Newer, bigger home. Maybe they had a good divorce settlement. Who knows? Estate planning, and recently came into money. So maybe it's the person who had the good side of had a good divorce lawyer and other debt. Change jobs. Let's just do received a raise, started a business. And health, and recently lost weight because you're divorced and you want to get another boyfriend or girlfriend or what have you. So we'll put those in. And how much insurance do I need? Again, good question. Short to the point, contrasting text, probably about a 20-pointer, double space. Put your annual salary in, let's say $65,000. I'll just make up a date of birth, 12, let's say Christmas, 12/25, 1968. Let's say 65. It actually puts the age in there just to confirm it. How much debt do you want to pay off? Let's say $10,000, $120,000, $20,000, and we'll keep that same amount. All right, assets. Let's say you have no life insurance. Say you have $5,000 in liquid assets. We'll keep this same amount on here. How much can Liable cost me? Select your gender. We'll just pick female. And this is great. This is just so easy to use. Let's say she wants to lose some weight, so we'll call her 141. Never ask a woman about her wage or her weight or her age. Date of birth, kept the same thing. Residence, we'll just pick a state. We'll pick California. Why not? All right. Tobacco, nope. Let's say she never used it. And look at this. Congratulations. Here's your quote. Very simple. There's a disclaimer. I would probably not make this double space just because completed is on another line. But overall, monthly cost, this amount. You can apply. This is the coverage amount. This is the term. Request a callback. I'd maybe make this a little bit more prominent because you want that call to action to be very prominent. You have the information. That's great. What do you want them to do with it? And that's what you want to make very, very prominent. You can email it, so let's say it was a mother-in-law doing it, or print it, sharing it, video, why choose us. This is so small. I mean, I would think that you'd want to make this, very prominent and put like a screenshot on here. I mean, again, there's so many things they're doing incredibly, incredibly well. So again, these people are really, really doing things differently, and these people are going to get the client that most people are not going to get. If you're just throwing out some bland borderline, where's that one that we saw here? The Stanley Wong. Are you going to go with this guy, or are you going to go with this guy? It's really, really obvious which one you're going to have. Or even this one too, the same one here. So, all right. So let's look at mine. So I'll show you some things we do on mine. So, and I'm going to show you also some tools and some of the tactics that I use on mine to make things a little bit easier. So, again, just to start off, mine is a WordPress, which means it's free. So you can actually get the website for free. You have to pay for the domain. I go to GoDaddy, and it's honestly like $20 a year or something like that. It's super, super cheap. And I use a theme called Alterna, which is, I think it's like $50 or whatever, but it's honestly, it was the best $50 I ever spent because it's so super easy to use. And I'm going to actually show you how we make it. In fact, let's see if we can go in here. So when we go to the pages, we'll go to 2. And we will do edit. All right, so yeah, when you do it, basically it's super simple. This doesn't show up on the visual part of the page, but it shows up in search engine. So this is how when somebody goes to Google and they type in, and I'm just going to go to Google. Okay. And you put the Negotiators Playbook. All right, so this is how it shows up, right? So we look at the Recognized Insurance Sales Authority, the Negotiators Playbook, and it just pops up just like this. And I'll show you actually where that shows up as well. But this will show up, I believe, in the title bar. You go down, the JavaScript basically is what I use for this video. And I actually, in other tutorials we do, I'll show you how to do that. It's honestly super simple. I am not a programmer, by the way. I don't know how to do JavaScript, but I do know how to copy and paste. And I think that's really all you need to learn how to do. The heading, custom heading. So basically what I have on here is basically a video where I can put an iPad background on here and make it look really good. So I want people to say, okay, look, this stuff, the stuff that you're going to see on here, you can use on your mobile device. The headline, quit paying and then the tagline, quit paying your dues, pay yourself instead. I specifically put it off to the right because I kind of want it to flow from top left to bottom right. It's featured on, and we'll go deeper on that down low, but I've been on every single one of these TV shows, so I want them to know that, I know exactly what I'm doing. The menu's super simple. Basically these are for products that I have. You can subscribe to our newsletter, register for a free masterclass. But this immediately, in this video, and I know you can't see it, but in this video, I basically talk about why I'm different and what is unique about me. So I want them to be able to, kind of have an understanding of, where I'm coming from. So, and so as you page down, the first thing I want people to do is, again, it's call of action. Why should I stay on the website and what should I do? So just starting out and don't know where to begin, choose one of these easy starting points. So if you want to start landing more clients networking, I'm going to show you 4 easy and insanely powerful strategies anybody can use. Register for these. And this is done for a webinar that I do. This is done on Photoshop, which again is super simple. There are some further lessons down the line that I show you how to do this. But again, it's super simple. It takes honestly, this took me like a minute and a half. It was super simple to do. Want to make a killer first impression on networking events and actually land clients there too? You can. Click here for the exact scripts to use. And then what I also did is I also give them an opportunity to a number of texts. Now this is a free service that I use for texting. There's a free service that I have that basically you get a number to use, and once they text the word scripts to this number, it immediately asks them to punch in their email address, and then it puts them into my email list, and that's where I deliver the scripts to them. And again, what I use here, again, is a very is a white background. I want it to be a lot of space. I want the text to stand out really easily, and the call to action buttons to stand out really easily. Even the YouTube thing right here is in white, so you wouldn't even notice it if I wasn't pointing it out. And again, I went basically left, video or picture to text to picture. So it changes things up, it draws your eyes, and it's brand new. Or again, you say, just starting out, know where to begin. You could pick one of the starting points: networking, land more clients networking, make a killer first impression networking, or you can just fast track your results. Quit paying your dues, pay yourself instead, which is my tagline. Even the newest insurance agent quickly land these clients. You can register for the webinar, and I put both of them on here. Now, the chevron that you see here, which is that little arrow thing, you put it on there because it kind of trains your brain to, push to the right and know there's something further coming. Beyond that, I have some products that I offer, and if I purposely put these down here. If somebody's brand new on my site and they don't know me, I'm not going to put those on here. I want to give them free stuff. No commitment. I want to give them free stuff. They can pick the path that they want to go down. So if they're brand new and they want to, let's say they don't know how to even make a good impression, right? They can do this. Let's say they want to learn how to close better. Then they do this. But if they just want to skip both of those and just say, look, I get that. I want to go to the fast track. I want to start getting big results now. Then they can pick this track. So there's 3 tracks they can pick. And after that, there's individual products that I offer. This one is the attraction switches, which you see right there, which is basically landing more clients without having to overcome objections or chasing. And it's basically a product that does that there. And again, start here, get your video sample now. So again, if somebody isn't sure what it's about, this link actually takes them to a page where they can see a sample. And so they know what to expect. And again, they have that chevron here, so it kind of leads that, indication, subtle indication of an action, something good going forward. And if you notice, remember how I was critiquing people, I said they had all that space up top. I really am using my space judiciously. It's there. It's not my space on the website. It's your client's space, your prospective client space on their browser. This is another one for Celebrity Marketing Playbook. Wish you could stand above the competition, become the recognized authority even if you're not. And then these are basically your benefits, bold. And I'm not using 12-point font, by the way. After all that time criticizing it, I'm not going to sit here and use it on my own site. Double spaced right here. I think it's actually it's almost double spaced. It might be double spaced. It might be a space and a half. I'm not sure. But breaking things up, you no longer have to. Instead, you'll be able to. Get your free sample now. Wish you could work fewer hours and land more clients. And again, the same chevron. Start here. Register for the masterclass. This one on this other one was get the free sample. Again, it's not about, here, buy the product. I want to give you something free. So that's really everything you see on here. It's get something free, 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 get something free. So it's, again, nothing's committed. I'm not selling anything. I'm giving away everything. And then down low, these are two things that I care about, Helen Woodward Animal Center and the Monarch School, this is a school for homeless kids who literally sleep under bridges, but they have a school dedicated for them. So they know everybody in there is in the same thing. So there's no actual kind of stigma when it comes to that. There's a picture of me. Listen to the latest episode of my podcast, which I'm actually just starting to get into. Again, free. And a simple, basically getting into breaking it down. If you're this far down, I'm going to reward you, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about what we're doing. So there's a simple formula to become a top producer. Building your confidence, building your reputation, building your dream business. And you can see I went big and bold to smaller type. Definitely not 12-point. That's a 16-point font. Bolding it out, red, where I want them to see it, where I want them to see it. And meet some success stories. Now, this is an area I'm still working on right now, but again, I don't believe in putting written testimonials. I'm going to put video testimonials of people that I have worked with. Get to know me. This is actually right down the street from my neighborhood. Again, big, small. This is 16-point font. Tells you a little about where I'm at and kind of where I came into doing these things. Again, it's not very long, short paragraphs, big text. And a cool background to keep you on the page. Don't think that was an accident, because it was not. I want people, if I'm going to give you the most text I've given you all web page, I'm going to give you one killer background to keep you on this page. Companies have trusted us. These are all companies that have hired me to teach what I teach. Featured appearances. These are all podcasts or business groups. And there's way more than this. I just didn't want to put all of them on this page, to be honest, but where they've been on there. And at the very end, they can subscribe to the newsletter. But the one thing that I want you to see on this is I want to give you a video right offhand, but I want it to be different. It's just not going to be a video. It's going to be on it's going to be on an iPad. I want it to catch your attention and be something different than you've ever seen, and have at that point, we want to take somebody to say, somebody's never met me, they don't know what I'm about, and they're not sure what I want them to do. So we're going to be very point blank with it. Starting out and don't know where to begin? Okay, we'll pick one of these. Get something free. How to land clients, how to make a first impression and land them. Giving you a text thing. So if you're on your mobile, you can do it immediately from there. Or you can fast track your results. Free. There's not a whole lot of empty space above or below it, and it's progressive as we go down. So one of the things you'll see here is that, I give 3 different ways where you can get something free, right? And it's 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 basically lowest maintenance right here. Download that to a little higher maintenance, which is a webinar. So they'll register for it, but it's a little bit of time where they're going to sit down and learn a ton of really cool stuff from there. Then it's our entry product, which is attraction switches right there. But I give you something free, so you get a sense on what it is before you even make a decision whether you're going to buy it, because people are probably not going to buy it if they don't see that. So I want to give them a sample so they can start to learn stuff right now and want more. Then the next product up after attraction switches that we have people go into is Celebrity Marketing Playbook, and I give you a free sample of that. And then I just throw this in, give you another webinar, because I really want people to go in that webinar. The webinars are incredibly, incredibly powerful, and they're some of the best stuff we do. So we just threw that in there as a change. I want to get people to know me. I want to get another way that people to get to know me and get some free stuff. They can listen to this in their car or what have you, or they're going for a walk. And then tell you exactly how we do it. Like when you sign up to one of these, this is a very structured formula on exactly how we do it, people that have done it. And then me personally, again, I'm not talking about, in here, I do not talk about anything business, right? Like, oh, I've, did this or that or whatever. But I tell you how I'm different, okay? I don't teach boring and worthless sales training, right? That you've been spoon-fed. No. I teach, very, very a lot differently. I've proven a success by implementing various companies, from startups to a Fortune 500 company. I've been in a number of places, but really this is my favorite one, is when I'm not roaming the globe. Oh, let me get that down there. When I'm not roaming the globe, you'll find me in beautiful and very lab back hometown of San Diego, trying to find the next great IPA or playing with my 2 dogs. And they love it down here, by the way. But that's it. I mean, that's really simple. It's a very structured way that I want to put my website down here to land clients. So when they go on here, they can pick the spot where they're at in their process and decide where to start. Maybe they start way up top, right? Or maybe they're at a point where they just don't even know how to make a good first impression at networking events. So they'll do that. And I'm going to make things as simple as possible. I'm going to give them a chance to text, use their texting to get that email to them. So now behind that, I want to show you some things on the actual structure. So number one, we talked about Alterna that I used. And this is really cool because, it honestly makes everything super simple. All this stuff here is, stuff you'll get when you get the product. This was actually in here to begin with, so I didn't touch that. I just put full width. This filled this out automatically for me. And you do want full width. We did see some back here where it's partial width, like that, for example. And this doesn't do you any favors. There's so much more that you could be using for this. This picture here could be way bigger. So you want to do full width whenever possible. But what's great about this is when we did the header, I just picked the graphic that I used, and I did that on Photoshop. You can do that in Preview on Mac or some other ones on here. And it's really that simple. That's all the header was. And when you actually go to the page, it's really cool because on this Alterna, if I want to start a brand new section, where is this at here? I just click the button right here, and you can decide which ones you want to do. You could do an icon, a text block, a Facebook like, a tweet mem. Really whatever one you get. And the more when you learn this, when you start using this, you'll know which ones to use. I use probably 1/20th of the ones that are on here. But it's simple. You can just basically create one on here. Let's see. Let's go to the top. I created on here basically a 2-row column. And that is this guy, right? 1, 2. Don't know where to begin. Choose one of these starting points. Right? That's right here. Don't know where to begin. Choose one of these starting points as a heading. And then a 2-column row. Same thing. 2-column row. I don't have anything on here on the right. And that's actually this right here takes up this space right here. So the image actually isn't just right here. The image goes all the way over, and I have as a background. And then the only thing on the layer right here where it talks about want to start landing more clients networking is on the right. But if you go to the row setting, see, where did I have it? Oh, it's under design options. The picture's right there, and it actually covers the entire side of it. All right, so as we go down, it's basically that. You just pick the one you want to do, text, 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 text. I have a hyperlink in the text for that one. These are all just text. I mean, it's super simple. You can just change the text on here as much as you want. There's my hyperlink. Pick the image for Helen Woodward and for the Monarch School. Text, text. I mean, it's super, super simple. And if I wanted to update the image, all I need to do is click on this, and it will automatically get rid of this. And then you just, what's cool on here is like, I don't know how this, like you can literally type in large, medium, full, thumbnail, and it automatically figures it out. And then you just pick the link on here where they do that. Now, for the podcast, there's a lot of them you could use. One of the things that I'm using right now is one called Podomatic, and you could see it in the description right there. And it pretty much does everything for you. And one of the things that I use for my podcast is on the Apple, I use a GarageBand, but you can use any audio program that you want to use. But basically, it's super, super simple. If I want to change the text, there's just a text thing on here. I could underline it, not underline it. I could change the color, right? I could do a number of different things. You can add actually columns in here, elements, buttons. So if you didn't do it before, you can add it here. There's just a number of different things. You can change the heading size. There's just a million. You can move the indent in and out. You can do pretty much everything. It's super, super simple. All right, so let's go back to see if there's anything on here. One of the things when you do on here, and we'll get, let's see. I have a lot of stuff on here, so don't be intimidated. This took 3 years to do, so, and some of them I use and some of them I still don't use as much. So let's go to some of the ones that are on here. SEO is kind of important. We'll click on that guy. SEO basically is search engine optimization, and I always say that's nerd math. I don't know anything about it, but basically on some of them, in fact, let's go to Pages. We'll go back to that. We're going to back to the home site. Ooh, those are posts. Let me go to Pages. All right, we're going to go to our home page. All right, there's the front page. And then you could do a mobile preview here if you wanted. But you could do it on the page as well. All right, well, it's loading. All right, so again, you can do mobile previews here. All right, so let's see what we're going to have here. So yeah, so we did all the elements on here, which are super simple. You can also do preview. If you do preview, it opens up a new window and allows you to make the change without actually saving it. So if it looks horrible, it's not actually live at the moment. And then when you hit update, it actually goes live. There's a front end editor on this, which means you can actually look at it as it looks on the page and just move stuff around. I don't like that one as much, but you guys might. But on here, general, I use full width for all of this. Template options, I don't have anything on here. Background, you can use your own, like a different background. I like white just because it gives me more options. This is how it's going to look on a website description. So on here. It's, one of the things that I could have just put the negotiator's playbook, but who cares? Nobody cares about that. I wanted somebody to immediately say, okay, what am I? And I put that actually first, the Recognized Insurance Sales Authority. Not getting the results you want, stop paying your dues, pay yourself instead. And if you can see that, that's exactly what it says. So I want to start really letting them know what I'm about before I get there. So they can look at this. And again, I started with a question, which I say is very important. Stop paying your dues, pay yourself instead. And one of the things that I noticed on here, where's this at here? All right, we'll get to that in a second. So let's do the snippet. I started to use quit, so we're going to update that. All right, so one of the things on here, it says it'll give you on SEO whether people are on here. Apparently I didn't pass the flesh reading ease test. A transition word or phrase, they want a certain number. I didn't do that. Okay. The amount of words following each of the subheads doesn't exceed the recommended amount per 300 words, which is great. None of the paragraphs are too long, which is great. Again, we talked about that earlier. 1.8 of the sentence that contain more than 20 words, which again, you want to keep it very short, which is good. Nobody likes passive voice, so keep that really low. It's good. It makes the readability pretty darn easy. I didn't put anything on here, but you could put a Facebook title or Twitter, which I probably will at some point. All right, and it'll give you basically revisions. You can actually go back to that revision and restore it. So if you make a mistake, right? If you make a mistake, you can actually go back and restore it. So it's like Time Machine on your MacBook or your Apple or whatever. If I allow comments, it would be on there. I can add a comment on there. I have the share button on there, which is, where's the share button? I think it's probably on the bottom. I don't know where the share button is. It says it's on there. So let's go to the SEO. Okay, so the SEO. The website name, I could have an alternate name. That's where I put my logo. Here, let's go back to that page. Because there's a place where you can, I told you I'm not a programmer, so I think right now you guys can see that. So let's go back to pages. All right, let's go to edit. It might be on quick edit, so I'm going to open that in a new tab. Let's page down. I don't do CSS, which I don't even know what CSS stands for, but I know it's like a styling thing. So, all right, so let's do quick edit. All right, so this is where you can basically, okay, yeah, where is this? All right, well, there's a place on here, and it's usually at the bottom. That's your keyword. That's your snippet that you can use. But there's things you can do in here typically, and I think they've updated this since I've done it. So my apologies for not having it down pat, but usually they have a thing where you can basically type in your meta tags and all the other things on here. But this WordPress didn't cost me a thing. The Alterna cost me like $50. All the other things I just don't like paying for. They don't cost me anything. But some of the other things you can look on here, mobile formats, I'm not even sure what that is. I think that's new. Settings. When you go in here, they're basically the same things. All right, so there's not really much on there. Writing, reading, discussion, I don't really use any of those. Welcome gate, retina, share buttons, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So Visual Composer, that's basically the web editor. Google Analytics, you're going to want to have a Google Analytics, and this is going to help you see things. So you can literally just go to Google Analytics. And again, I am not a programmer, but at least I know how much to do this. And you create let's do analytics. I don't know if it remembers me. Okay, so yeah, it does remember me. So basically it'll give me, basically all this stuff right here on Google Analytics will be right here. So I can basically, if I wanted to use a new code, I could change that there. I have demographics and interests, which is important. Auto track, which is important. Okay, where is... Yeah, usually, okay, so what I'll do on this, because usually it was showing on there. So let's say I go to my web page. And I use my audience, demographics. Go to the beginning of the year, hit apply. All right, so it'll give you the all right, so it'll tell me returning visitors, page views, new sessions. 50%. Normally the average bounce rate is 80%. What a bounce rate is somebody that goes to your page and doesn't take any form of action on your homepage. They leave, basically. They bounce. So that actually 57% is pretty good. English language, I don't know what C is, but Spanish, maybe Chinese. That's probably what it is. We can go to country. Most of it's in the U.S., Nicaragua, South Africa. It'll tell you the cities they're at, most likely. Operating system. This is really key. So operating system, most people are using Windows. A lot of people are using Mac. It'll tell you the service provider. This will give you kind of some really interesting things on here. Operating system. How many people are using Apple versus Android, so you can make decisions on that. You can go to interests. All these different things on here. But anyway, so geography, let's do location. This one's kind of cool because it's a picture. And it'll tell you where in the world they're looking at your stuff. But anyway, so that's some of the things we have on here. And tools, user plugins, ClickFunnels, and then pages and posts. So posts, if I want to write something like, for example, this is kind of where I do my blog. And so if I did a post, I'll write a post on this. Put a video. Most of it is just text, large text, but I put most of them as videos. So honestly, it's super simple. I mean, pretty much everything on there has cost me nothing. I mean, I think the only thing I really spent money on was the theme. But I'll tell you what, I've spent a lot of money. You could see. I guess one of the things that I'm really happy about is I never hired a programmer. I just like to cheat off other people's ideas for the most part. The logo, for example, it cost me $5 on Fiverr.com, which is 2 R's. And basically, what do you need to get done? So you can do graphics design, logo design. And so they have people that do samples. And you just pick one that's similar to kind of what you want yours to be. And then they used to all be 5. Now I guess some of them are 10. But, they'll do a logo in 24 hours. They just send you multiple iterations of that. And then you can actually, if there's things you want changed, you can get them to do that, which is what I did for mine. And actually what I did, when I came up with the name of the business, I came up with 5 different names, and I put a survey out on SurveyMonkey on LinkedIn, and 50% of the people picked this one. So I went with it. And then I got the name of it, and then I had an idea of kind of the color scheme and everything, but I didn't really know anything else. And so I put, picked 5 logos from the people that I put it out to. So I think technically it cost me $25. And then put that on LinkedIn and had people vote, and 50% of the people picked the logo you're seeing right there. So realistically, it cost me, $25 to come up with this. It was super, super simple. As far as some of the tools I use Final Cut Pro. You can also use iMovie if you're on a Mac. I'm not as familiar with Windows as I am with some other things. So there's Final Cut Pro right there. iMovie comes with your Mac, and it actually is free, and it's just as good. You can use Windows Movie Maker. One of the things that I have that actually shrinks things out is, and this is an awesome, cool, and free tool that I have. It's a program called Handbrake. And so what it does is it actually takes, when you record a video, and it's like, let's say it's 2 gigabytes or whatever, it actually shrinks it down into a mobile-friendly video, and where it's like 300 megabytes. So it makes it easy to use, convertible on every type of mobile device you can have, and it actually makes it a ton smaller. So when you're uploading to YouTube, which I use, so we'll go to the YouTube channel. Literally, to set your YouTube up, you click the upload button. You can decide whether it's public, unlisted, which is what I use for most of mine, or private. Private I never really use because it's only for me, right? Or somebody else has to have access to it. And scheduled is new, so I guess that's kind of a new version of public. But I go to unlisted. You click on here. You pick your file and you upload it, and then it'll give you kind of the link you put in to do that. But Handbrake is awesome for that. You definitely want to use that. So if you were to go to, let's say, Handbrake app, if you have a Mac, I'm not sure if it's on Windows, but seeing that download is typical. I got it for free too. Again, this is another free product here. It's definitely a great product to use. But as far as the biggest mistakes I've had, it's honestly, I guess the biggest overall mistake that I've ever had was that I just did things because I thought I should, or I didn't have a strategy on what to do. But literally all the stuff that you're seeing here, all these things on here, I've fallen backwards into. And if I were to do things over again, I would have just said, okay, the people that have a really good website, that are making money online, what are they doing? And that's what I would have done. And I've done that in a couple occasions, but for the most part, it's been kind of trial and error for the most part. So that's kind of an example of what you want to do with your website. When you get on here, you want to ask real quick. Let's find the one that I really like. What the call to action is. So they get on your website. What's the first thing you want them to do? And make it really obvious. They shouldn't have to go digging around and reading and learning, because they're not going to do that. They're just going to leave your website. Make it obvious. Start saving now. Make it easy for them to pick these things on here. The one that we had, I don't know if this was the one. Yeah, even the main site for TIA, what makes it different? Start now. You want them to be really obvious what you want them to do right away. And again, that's what we're doing on this one. Don't know where to begin? Pick something. I mean, it's really super simple. Don't overdo it. Text is your enemy. You don't want a ton of it. You want just enough to get your point across and nothing more. And then give them a reason to click on the button and to take action, and then move on. But minimalism is best. It floats your eyes right to where you need to do. And keep in mind, this website I have really isn't even part of my marketing efforts. This is just in case somebody literally looks me up or hears about me or what have you. If I'm on one of these one of these magazines or podcasts or blogs or what have you, then if they say, oh, okay, Matt Halsey with Negotiators Playbook, let me look him up, then this is really about them having a warm introduction to me. And this whole website is not about explaining who I am and everything about, the Negotiators Playbook. It's, look, you're on my website. I'm going to say, you're on my website. This is what you're going to do. I'm going to give you something to do. If you're just starting out and you want to close more business, do this. If you want to be better at speaking, do this. If you want to just make more money, do this. And they're all free. Everything's free. It's free and it's immediate too. So if you do this, you're going to get these strategies in your inbox in about 30 seconds. Same thing with this. If you text it, if you text it or register this way, you're going to get it in like 30 seconds. If you register now, you're going to be in here. All these things are free. It's simple. Where I can give a sample, I give a sample. They can always come back. These are always open in a new tab so that they don't have to go back on their browser. They can just click, close down the one they're at or just click on the other tab. But I'm saying wherever you're at, I'm going to give you the exact thing that you need to do to take action. You don't have to think about it, and they are in order of newness. So these are for the newest people, less new, and these people really, really want to take off. And so forth. And then once we got that done, if they want to scroll down, it's not crucial they do, but if they want to scroll down, this is really about telling them about who I am. What really matters to me. You get to know me a little bit more personally there. I get to tell you a little bit about exactly what we do here if you decide to go down. And this is a work in progress, and obviously getting to know me here. So really, that's what it's about. That's how you make a website that sells. You want to be very simple, get right to the point, assuming everything below the fold is not going to be seen unless there's some video or graphic here that compels you to do so. But the first thing that you should see, even if I got rid of this graphic, right, the first thing that they would see is this. And they jump on the website, and it's extremely obvious what I want them to do. So that's what you want to do on your website. And if you're an insurance agent and you do not have a website yet, you need to get one, because your cards and your company's website are not going to help you out. This is almost free. I mean, it's so little money, it's not even funny. And once you give them a card and you actually direct them on your card or what have you, or have one of those little QR code bars, which I have on mine, and it scans them to this page or whatever page I want them to go to, then immediately it says, you're here, this is the action you're going to take. And they're going to do it. If they're on that page and you make it really simple to take that action, they're going to do it. And a perfect example was Insurify. If we go back, that's where they said they won the award. So if we go to Insurify, how much will you save? Wait, where was the one? Right there. Start saving now. It's really obvious. What do they want you to do? They want you to click that button. It's super, super simple. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have any questions, let me know. My email address is matt@thenegotiatorsplaybook, and I look forward to hearing from you soon. Take care.